What if I told you that the most mysterious world in our solar system is not Saturn, not Jupiter, not even Mars, but a tiny, forgotten object on the edge of everything? A world we laughed at, demoted, and called insignificant. But then, something impossible happened, and what scientists discovered next changed everything. For decades, Pluto was just a dot, a cold, lonely rock, floating in darkness. Discovered in 1930, it was proudly called the ninth planet, a member of our cosmic family. But then, in 2006, everything changed. Pluto was stripped of its title, downgraded from a planet to a dwarf planet. To most people, that was the end of the story. Pluto was small, unimportant, boring, or so we thought, because far beyond Earth, far beyond Neptune, Pluto was hiding something no one expected. For 85 years, we had never truly seen Pluto, just blurry images, faint light, a mystery, unanswered, until one mission changed everything. NASA launched a spacecraft on a journey across the solar system, a journey that would take almost a decade, through darkness, through silence, a lonely traveler heading toward the unknown. This spacecraft was called New Horizons, and in 2015, it finally arrived. Imagine this. After traveling billions of kilometers, after years of waiting, humanity saw Pluto for the very first time, not as a dot, but as a world. And what we saw was not what anyone expected. Pluto wasn't dead. It wasn't frozen in time. It was alive, a dynamic world, full of activity. Mountains as tall as the Himalayas, glaciers flowing slowly across its surface, vast plains stretching for hundreds of kilometers, and then, the most shocking feature of all, a giant, heart-shaped region. Yes, a heart, on a distant world, billions of kilometers away. Scientists named it Tombo Regio. But here's the terrifying part. That heart isn't just a shape. It's a massive glacier, made of nitrogen ice, slowly moving, constantly changing, which means Pluto is geologically active. But how? How can something so small, so far from the sun, still be alive? Pluto should be frozen solid. Temperatures there drop to minus 230 degrees Celsius, colder than anything we can imagine. No sunlight, no warmth, nothing to keep it active. And yet, it moves, it changes, it evolves. But here's the question. Where is the heat coming from? Scientists expected Pluto to be dead inside, a frozen corpse of rock and ice. But instead, they found signs of internal energy. Something is heating Pluto from within. Some scientists believe there could be a hidden ocean beneath its icy surface, a vast subsurface ocean. Imagine this, an ocean on the edge of the solar system, in complete darkness, hidden beneath kilometers of ice. But then something even stranger appeared. Cracks, massive fractures, across Pluto's surface. These aren't random. They look like the surface has expanded, as if something underneath is pushing outward, like water, freezing and expanding. This led scientists to a shocking theory. Pluto may have a liquid ocean that is slowly freezing and reshaping the entire planet. But here's the scary part. For an ocean to exist, there must be heat. Consistent, internal heat. Which means Pluto is not as dead as we once believed. It's active, unpredictable, and possibly hiding something deeper. But Pluto didn't stop there. It did something no one expected. It breathes. Yes, Pluto has an atmosphere that expands and collapses as it moves closer to the sun. Its ice turns into gas. The atmosphere grows, but when it moves away, it freezes again, falls back to the surface, like snow falling from the sky. Imagine a world where the sky itself freezes and collapses. A planet that literally breathes in and out, alive in its own alien way. Here's where things get even crazier. Pluto's largest moon, Charon, is so big that they orbit each other, not one around the other, but both around a point in space. A cosmic dance, locked forever. Which means Pluto doesn't just have a moon. It has a partner, a binary world. And that's not all. Pluto has blue skies. Yes, blue, despite being billions of kilometers away. And when sunlight hits its atmosphere, it creates layers of haze, stretching for hundreds of kilometers, a glowing halo in the darkness of space. But here's the most unsettling fact. Scientists still don't fully understand it. Not completely. Not yet, but then a darker idea began to emerge. What if Pluto isn't just a leftover rock? What if it's something else? Some scientists believe Pluto might be a captured object, a traveler from the Kuiper Belt, or even beyond, an ancient world that didn't form with the rest of our solar system. Meaning, Pluto could be an outsider, a visitor from a region we barely understand. But here's the chilling part. If Pluto is like this, how many more worlds like it exist? Hidden in the darkness beyond Neptune? Thousands? Millions? Entire worlds we have never seen. Pluto is not just a planet. It's a gateway, a doorway to a vast, unknown region called the Kuiper Belt, a place filled with icy worlds, remnants of the early solar system, frozen time capsules, holding secrets, billions of years old. And Pluto is just the beginning. Imagine this. What if every object out there has its own story, its own mysteries, its own hidden oceans, and unknown forces? For decades, we thought Pluto was small, insignificant, forgettable. But now, we know the truth. Pluto is alive, complex, mysterious, and deeply unsettling. Because if something so small, so far away, can be this strange, then what else is waiting for us? In the dark, the universe has a way of humbling us, of reminding us that what we think we know is just the beginning. Pluto was once called nothing. Now, it may be one of the most important clues to understanding everything. And maybe, just maybe, the scariest discoveries aren't the ones we're looking for, but the ones waiting silently at the edge of the unknown. The deep freeze that shouldn't exist continued. But here's where things take a disturbing turn. Pluto isn't just cold. It's impossibly cold. So cold that even the laws of planetary science start to feel uncomfortable. At those temperatures, almost everything should be completely frozen. No motion, no change, no life of any kind. And yet, Pluto refuses to stay still. Glaciers move, ice flows, surface features reshape themselves over time. Imagine this: a world where ice behaves like liquid rock, where entire landscapes slowly shift, in complete silence, over millions of years. No wind, no sound, just movement. In the darkness, ice cube, the ice that acts like lava. On Earth, lava flows are violent, burning, explosive. But on Pluto, there is something eerily similar, except it's not lava. It's nitrogen ice, flowing like a river, creeping across the surface, filling craters, erasing history. Scientists observe vast plains with almost no impact craters, which means something terrifying. Pluto is constantly renewing itself. It's wiping away its past. But why? What force is powerful enough to reshape an entire world? So far from the Sun, Milky Way time is different on Pluto. On Earth, a year takes 365 days. On Pluto, 1 year takes 248 Earth years. Think about that. A single season on Pluto can last decades. Imagine standing there, watching the sun rise, and knowing it might not set for years. Or worse, being trapped in darkness for generations. But here's the unsettling part. During these long seasons, Pluto undergoes massive transformations. Its atmosphere expands, then disappears. Its surface freezes, then melts again. A cycle so slow, it feels almost eternal. New Moon, the strange relationship with Charon. Now let's talk about something even more bizarre. Pluto is not alone. Its largest moon, Charon, is not just a moon. It's almost the same size as Pluto itself. And together, they are locked in a gravitational embrace, always facing each other. Forever. If you stood on Pluto, Charon would never rise, never set, just hang there in the sky, motionless, watching. Imagine this: a giant world, frozen in the sky above you, never moving, never leaving. But here's the creepy part. This kind of system is rare, very rare, which raises a question. Did Pluto and Charon form together? Or did something violent happen in the past? The ancient collision theory. Some scientists believe Pluto and Charon were created by a massive collision, a catastrophic impact. Billions of years ago, two worlds crashing into each other, shattering, reforming, becoming what we see today. But here's the problem. The evidence doesn't fully match. Something about Pluto still doesn't add up. Its composition, its structure, its behavior, all slightly off. As if Pluto doesn't belong here. Shooting star world from another place? What if Pluto came from somewhere else? Not just the outer solar system, but beyond it? Some scientists have suggested Pluto could be a captured object, a wanderer, drifting through space, until it was trapped by the sun's gravity. If that's true, then Pluto isn't just a planet. It's a visitor, an ancient relic, from a region we barely understand, a place where the rules might be very different. Hold the darkness beyond Pluto. Beyond Pluto lies a region that is almost completely unexplored. The Kuiper Belt. A vast field of icy objects, stretching billions of kilometers into space. But even that is not the end. far beyond. There could be something even bigger, a hidden planet, a massive world, lurking in the darkness. Some call it Planet 9, a planet so distant we haven't seen it yet, only felt its presence through gravity. But here's the terrifying thought. If something that large can hide in our own solar system, what else is out there that we haven't noticed? Milky Way, the silence of Pluto. Pluto is quiet, too quiet. No storms, no roaring winds, just stillness, endless, unbreakable silence. Imagine standing there, on that frozen surface, looking up at a distant sun, barely brighter than a star. No sound, no movement, just the feeling that you are completely alone. Or are you? Because sometimes, the most unsettling thing is not what we see, but what we don't. Brain, what scientists still can't explain. Even today, Pluto remains a mystery. There are things we still don't understand. Why is it still geologically active? How does it maintain a possible ocean? Why does its atmosphere behave so strangely? And why does it look so different from anything else we've seen? Scientists are still searching, still analyzing, still trying to make sense of a world that refuses to follow the rules. But maybe the scariest part isn't Pluto itself. Maybe it's what Pluto represents. A reminder that even in our own solar system, we don't fully understand what's out there. A reminder that the universe is not simple, not predictable, not safe. Pluto was once dismissed, ignored, forgotten, but now it stands as proof that even the smallest worlds can hold the biggest secrets. And maybe, just maybe, Pluto is not the exception. Maybe it's the beginning. Because out there, in the endless dark, there are countless worlds, waiting, watching, silent. And if one tiny world, at the edge of our solar system, can be this strange, this active, this mysterious, then imagine what lies beyond. Because the universe doesn't reveal its secrets easily. And Pluto may be one of its darkest clues. The heart that shouldn't exist. Let's go back to that heart, that massive, glowing region on Pluto's surface. At first, it looked beautiful, almost poetic. A heart in the coldest place in our solar system. But then scientists looked closer, and what they found was deeply unsettling. That heart is perfectly positioned, almost centered, too symmetrical, too smooth, too intentional. And here's the strange part. It shouldn't even be there. Based on Pluto's gravity and rotation, that region should have shifted over time. But it didn't. It stayed, locked in place, as if something beneath it is holding it there. Water waved the weight of an invisible ocean. Scientists ran simulations, again, and again, and again, trying to understand why that heart-shaped glacier sits exactly where it does. And finally, they found a possible answer, a terrifying one. Beneath that heart, there may be a massive ocean, not frozen, liquid, dense, heavy, so heavy that it's affecting Pluto's gravity, pulling the surface into alignment. Imagine this, an ocean so powerful that it controls the shape of an entire world, hidden, silent, unseen. Ice cube, the slow freezing, and a ticking clock. But here's where things get darker. That ocean might not stay liquid forever. It could be slowly freezing. Right now, as you're watching this, layer by layer, turning into ice, expanding, cracking the surface above it, reshaping Pluto from the inside out. But what happens when it finally freezes completely? Does Pluto go silent? Does it stop changing? Or does something catastrophic happen during that final phase? Scientists don't know, and that uncertainty is what makes it terrifying. Milky Way, a world that resets itself. On most planets, craters stay forever, scars from ancient impacts. But not on Pluto. Entire regions are smooth, young, almost untouched. Which means Pluto is erasing its history over and over again. Imagine a world that refuses to remember its past. Every impact, every mark, slowly disappearing, like it's being reset. But why? What kind of planet rewrites itself again and again? New moon, the possibility no one wants to talk about. Now here's a thought. That sounds like science fiction, but is being quietly discussed. What if Pluto's activity is not just natural? What if something else is influencing it? Something beneath the surface? Something we can't see? Now, to be clear, there's no proof of anything like that. But the fact that scientists are still confused, still searching, still unable to fully explain Pluto, leaves the door open. And sometimes, the unknown is far more unsettling than any answer. Shooting star, the edge of human knowledge. Here's the truth. We've only visited Pluto once. One spacecraft. One flyby. A few hours of data. From a world billions of kilometers away. That's it. Everything we think we know comes from that single moment. Imagine trying to understand Earth from just a few hours of observation. You'd miss everything. The oceans, the life, the complexity. So what are we missing on Pluto? What didn't we see? What passed by? In the darkness, unnoticed, the next mission, and the fear. Scientists want to go back, to send another mission, to orbit Pluto, to study it in detail. But it won't be easy. It would take years, decades even, and billions of dollars. But here's the deeper question. What if we go back and find something we weren't expecting? Something that changes everything we thought we knew. Not just about Pluto, but about our entire solar system? Pluto is no longer just a distant object. It's a mystery, a puzzle, a warning that the universe is far more complex than we imagined. Because if a tiny world on the edge of our solar system can hide oceans, reshape itself, and defy expectations, then what else is hiding in the dark? Imagine this. You're standing on Pluto, alone. The sun, just a distant light. Charon, frozen in the sky above you. Beneath your feet, an ocean you cannot see. A world that is alive in ways we barely understand. And beyond the horizon, nothing but endless darkness, filled with worlds we haven't discovered yet. Stories we haven't heard yet. Mysteries waiting. Because Pluto taught us something. Something we can never ignore again. The universe is not what we thought it was. Not simple. Not quiet. Not empty. It is alive with secrets. And sometimes, the smallest, most forgotten places hold the biggest truths. the loneliest place ever seen. There is a moment, captured by the New Horizons spacecraft, that most people never talk about. A moment that feels almost haunting. Pluto, fading into the distance, a thin blue glow wrapping around its edge, sunlight scattering through layers of frozen haze, and beyond it, nothing. No stars, no planets, no movement, just darkness. Imagine this. You are standing there, at the edge of the solar system, looking out into a void so vast. It feels endless. That's where Pluto lives. Not just far away, but isolated, cut off. A world on the border of the unknown. Milky Way, the sun. That isn't a sun. On Pluto, the sun doesn't feel like a sun. It's not bright. It doesn't warm you. It doesn't dominate the sky. It looks like a star. A small, distant point of light. And that changes everything. Because on Earth, the sun is life. It defines day and night. It controls weather. It shapes everything we know. But on Pluto, the sun has lost its power. It's just another light in the sky. Imagine living in a place where your star barely matters, where energy comes from somewhere else, from within, from below, from something we still don't fully understand. Brain the human realization. Pluto forces us to confront something uncomfortable. We thought we understood our solar system. We mapped it, named it, organized it. We believed everything had its place. Everything followed rules. But Pluto breaks those rules. It refuses to fit in. It refuses to behave. And in doing so, it reveals a truth we don't like to admit. We don't know as much as we think we do. New moon, what if we went there? Let's imagine something. Just for a moment. What if humans stood on Pluto? Not robots. Not machines. But you. Breathing. Walking. Experiencing it. The sky would be black. Even during the day. The sun. A tiny spark in the distance. The ground beneath you. Solid ice. Hard as rock. And silent. Completely silent. No wind. No sound. No life. Just the feeling that you are standing somewhere you were never meant to be, and beneath your feet, possibly an ocean, miles deep, hidden, unreachable. What would you feel? Awe? Or fear? Water wave, the ocean we may never see. That hidden ocean, if it exists, may remain forever out of reach, buried beneath layers of ice, thicker than mountains. No sunlight can reach it. No human may ever touch it. And yet, it could be there, moving, shifting, alive in its own way. Imagine an ocean that has never seen light, never felt warmth, existing in complete darkness for billions of years. If there is anything down there, we may never know, and that mystery will remain. Pluto is not alone. That's the part that changes everything. Because if Pluto can have a hidden ocean, a dynamic surface, a strange atmosphere, then what about the others? There are thousands of objects in the Kuiper Belt, thousands of Plutos, some bigger, some smaller, all waiting in the dark. Now think about that. Not one mystery, not one strange world, but thousands, each one with its own secrets, its own unknowns, its own potential to surprise us, warning the real fear. And here's where it becomes truly unsettling. Because the more we learn, the more we realize Pluto is not an exception. It's a pattern, a hint that the universe is filled with worlds we don't understand, worlds that don't follow our expectations, worlds that challenge everything we think we know about physics, about formation, about reality itself. So the real fear isn't Pluto. The real fear is this: if something so strange exists right in our cosmic backyard, what exists far beyond it? For years, Pluto was ignored, dismissed, forgotten. But now, it stands as a symbol, a reminder that the universe is not simple, not predictable, not finished revealing itself. And maybe that's what makes it beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Picture this: the camera slowly pulls away from Pluto. The heart fades into darkness. The blue haze disappears. The sun becomes smaller and smaller until it vanishes. Pluto becomes just a dot again, just like it once was. But now, we know the truth. That dot is a world, a living mystery, a silent guardian, at the edge of everything we know, and beyond it, an ocean of darkness, filled with questions we haven't even begun to ask. Pluto didn't just change how we see a planet, it changed how we see the universe. The message hidden in the dark. There's something strange about Pluto. Not just what it is, but what it represents. Because sometimes, a discovery is more than just data. Sometimes, it feels like a message, not sent, but revealed. Pluto is telling us something, not in words, but in existence. A quiet signal. From the edge of everything, Milky Way, the illusion of understanding. For centuries, humans have tried to understand the universe. We built telescopes, launched satellites, sent machines into the void. We believed, if we looked far enough, we would understand it all. But Pluto shattered that illusion. Because even in our own solar system, we found something we didn't expect. Something that didn't behave. Something that didn't follow the script. And that changes everything. Brain the question that won't go away. What if Pluto is not rare? What if it's normal? What if worlds like Pluto are everywhere? Hidden oceans, strange atmospheres, unexpected activity, all waiting in silence. Now think about that. If complexity can exist in the coldest, darkest corners, then where else could it exist? Where else could something be happening? Right now, unseen? Water wave the ocean as a symbol. That hidden ocean beneath Pluto is more than just water. It's a symbol of everything we don't see, everything we don't understand. Because from the surface, Pluto looks simple, cold, quiet, dead. But beneath, it may be alive with motion, change, possibility. And that idea applies to the entire universe. What we see is only the surface. New moon, the feeling no one talks about. There's a feeling that comes when you truly think about Pluto. Not excitement, not curiosity, something deeper. A kind of cosmic loneliness. Because Pluto shows us how far away things can be, how silent space really is, how small we are in comparison. Imagine sending a message to Pluto. It would take hours to arrive. Hours, just for a signal. And if something answered, you'd wait hours again to hear it. That distance, that delay, creates a kind of isolation we rarely experience. Milky Way, the edge is not the end. For a long time, we thought Pluto was the edge, the final boundary, the last planet. But now we know it's not the end. It's the beginning of something much larger. Beyond Pluto, space doesn't stop. It expands into regions we haven't explored, into darkness we haven't mapped, into mysteries we haven't even imagined. Warning: the final, unsettling thought. And here's the thought that stays with you long after the video ends. If Pluto, a tiny world, forgotten for decades, can hold this many secrets, then what about the rest of the universe? What about the galaxies, billions of light years away? What about the worlds we will never reach? What are they hiding? And more importantly, what have we not even considered yet? Shooting star: the last scene, ultimate cinematic end. The screen goes dark. A single point of light appears. Pluto, floating, silent, unchanging, and yet full of mystery. The camera pulls back. Faster and faster. Pluto disappears. The solar system fades into view. Then the galaxy. Then billions of galaxies. Each one filled with worlds. Unknown worlds. Unseen worlds. Unimaginable worlds. And somewhere out there, more Plutos. More mysteries. More truths. Waiting. We thought Pluto was the end of our solar system. But it turns out, it was the beginning of our ignorance, the signal we never sent. There's something unsettling about Pluto. Not just what it is, but how we found it. Think about this. We didn't go looking for something complex. We didn't expect mystery. We thought we already understood. And yet, when we finally reached it, it revealed something we weren't prepared for. Almost like we weren't the ones discovering Pluto. Pluto was revealing itself to us. Milky Way, the pattern of surprise. This isn't the first time this has happened. Every time we look deeper into space, we find something unexpected, something that breaks the rules, something that forces us to rethink everything. And Pluto is one of the clearest examples of that pattern. A world that should be simple, but isn't. A place that should be dead, but isn't. A planet that shouldn't matter, but does. And that raises a deeper question. Is the universe designed to surprise us? Brain, when knowledge becomes uncertainty. We often think that learning more brings clarity, but in space, it does the opposite. The more we discover, the more questions appear. Pluto gave us answers, but it also created new mysteries. If it has heat, where does it come from? If it has an ocean, how is it sustained? If it's active, what is driving it? Each answer opens another door, and behind each door, there's more darkness, more unknowns, more things we can't explain. The ocean as a warning. That hidden ocean beneath Pluto might be one of the most important clues in our solar system, because it tells us something critical. You don't need sunlight to have activity. You don't need warmth to have change. And maybe you don't need Earth-like conditions for something to exist. Now pause for a moment and think about that. Because if that idea is true, then the number of possible worlds capable of holding secrets increases dramatically. The universe becomes far more alive than we ever imagined. New Moon, the fear of the unknown depths. There's something deeply human about fearing what we cannot see. Deep oceans, dark caves, endless space. And Pluto combines all of them. A frozen surface, hiding a deep ocean. On a world, floating in endless darkness. It's like the universe took every unknown we fear and placed it in one location. Milky Way, what if we never fully understand it? Here's a possibility that most people don't consider. What if we never fully understand Pluto? What if it remains partially unexplained forever? Not because we're not trying, but because it's too far, too difficult, too complex. There may always be details we can't observe, processes we can't measure, secrets we can't uncover. And that means Pluto may remain a mystery for generations. Satellite the limits of human reach. Even with our most advanced technology, Pluto is incredibly far away. Signals take hours to travel. Missions take years, sometimes decades. And every journey comes with risk. Because once you go that far, there's no quick return, no easy correction, just distance, silence, and uncertainty. Shooting star, the shift in perspective. Pluto changed something, not just in science, but in us. It forced us to look at the solar system, not as a finished map, but as an open question. A place still being explored, still being discovered, still hiding things in plain sight. And maybe that's the most important realization of all. We are not at the end of discovery. We are at the beginning. Imagine the spacecraft leaving Pluto behind, its mission complete, drifting further into the darkness. Pluto slowly shrinking, becoming smaller and smaller until it disappears. And once again, it becomes just a dot, just like before. But now, we know that dot is not empty, not simple, not insignificant. It is a world, a mystery, a reminder that even the smallest things can hold the biggest truths. We didn't lose a planet when Pluto was reclassified. We uncovered a mystery, and that mystery is still waiting. Out there, in the cold, in the dark, at the very edge of everything we know.